times. How's it going? You're early. I'm a little late. Okay, everyone. Welcome to News Strip Down, where I dig through the news so you guys don't have to. 30 minutes or less. Why? Because longer than that's probably just BS anyways. Today is April 15th, 2026. It's Wednesday, middle of the week, the good old hump day. Yeah. It's plus 13 degrees Celsius in southwestern Manitoba. That's 55.4 degrees Fahrenheit to you guys down in the States. Yikes. Now let's get into news. Prime Minister Mark Carney, Liberals just gained majority government after winning their all three of their by-elections. This follows a couple defections from other parties, giving the Liberal Party control of the House of Commons till 2029. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. It seems like he's willing to negotiate and stuff with people. I don't know. Polyev seems to be pulling this, like he's treating Carney like he's Pierre Trudeau there again. Like, no, it's a totally different person. And with some of the stuff Carney's doing, I don't know. I think Pierre Polyev should, take a chill pill and relax a little bit. And Canada and US news. Electronic price tags you're starting to see in grocery stores across America and Canada. These new tags throughout the day have throughout the day they change prices depending on how many people are in the store. It's called surge pricing. So if you have more people in the store, they're going to charge you an extra couple cents on these new digital tags. There's some government officials here in Manitoba. They're trying to put a stop to this. They have been doing this for a couple weeks now in some stores, and people have been noticing this online. When you do certain purchases after a certain time at night, they charge you more for a product than if you would have went to the store and purchased it yourself, or say if you would have went and purchased it, say at lunchtime instead of midnight. It would be a totally different price, which doesn't really make any sense. Just this global change that's happening right now where they're going to start using our cell phones as our digital IDs. Well, they already are using our cell phones as a digital ID. We don't need these digital ID cards. All of our digital information is carried right here on our phones and our smart devices. So what they're planning on doing here is, as you walk across products and stuff, they're gonna, if you look up products or it notices that you buy specific products, it'll actually bump up the price if you buy this product on a regular basis. So this is coming out. We'll see more of that happening a little bit later on in the future. But yeah, this whole taxation or this whole litigation on the outlets from price fixing, like Loblaw said yesterday that, okay, yeah, we're underselling meat, blah blah blah, the meats aren't labeled properly. They said this last year and they said they'd rectify it this year. They still haven't yet to rectify it. Like companies like Loblaws, Sobeys, Safeways, they're all doing this. They're all slowly just ripping us off bit by bit. And then for Loblaws to say right now, because of this new price fixing that they're doing, they're like, you know, Maple Leaf is charging us surcharges on our fuel, right, or on our products now because of the price of fuel. And Loblaws is like, you know what? We're not paying that extra surcharge on fuel costs because of you getting your product to our stores. Yeah. So Loblaws is pretty much saying to like Maple Leaf Foods and these other companies that are bringing them food products, you're not ripping us off. We're not going to allow that to happen. But for the last 2 years here, Loblaws has been ripping off consumers over like meat products, which meat is very expensive right now as is. And then to throw, a couple extra cents on top of that per pound or per kilogram, yeah, that's millions of dollars for these companies to make off of us on this price fixing nonsense. So, yeah, you guys be careful when you're out there at the stores or if you're purchasing stuff online. And to tell you the truth, this is going to hurt the small businesses because, like, just one more step of getting rid of the small guys. And then back to Canada. Canada announced, or Carney announced that the federal government would remove the federal excess tax on gas and diesel starting next week. So that'll be April 20th, and it will last until September 7th. This won't make a big difference for farmers, except because they have already been exempt from this specific tax. You have to realize in Canada, when they say that they're going to remove this tax from our fuel, that's just one of many taxes that is added into our fuel costs. So it's absolutely insane. So when it comes down to farmers, this not affecting them, it's going to be more of them getting product out and getting product in. So them hauling fertilizer or hauling product to, the elevators and stuff like that. Yes, then they're going to start to see a little bit of difference. And then truckers, are they going to see a difference with this tax being removed? Okay, so they're going to remove the 4%, or sorry, the 4 cents per liter. Okay, if you're driving a semi and you have, say you're running 1,000 liters, you have a great savings of $40. How is that going to help the truckers? How is this going to bring food costs down? It's not. So like, and this is a little too little too late for Carney. Like I've been saying this since the conflict started in Iran, that expect to see food costs going up. I didn't expect to see food costs going up this soon, but they are already now. And yeah, too little, too late that Carney's removing this tax. He should have done it as soon as the conflict started in Iran. But really, at the end of the day, it's not going to make much of a difference to the end consumer. We're all going to have to pay the price for it. These big box stores like Loblaws, Sobeys, Walmart, they're the ones who are going to be winning at the very end of the day, which is absolutely insane. We all need to speak up and speak our minds about this. We're all getting ripped off. And at the Loblaws is saying it's because of the conflict in Iran and the fuel costs. So is that what every corporation is going to do now? They're just going to be like, well, there's a war in Iran. Let's jack up prices. We need to start separating ourselves from them, because they're always going to be conflicting with each other. And for us to say that we're going to stop this, never going to happen. Never going to happen. We really need to start figuring out what we're doing with our countries. And I do kind of agree with Trump in some way, where we should unilaterally stay together as a country. So North America, South America, right here, if we stayed together as one big nation, we could survive without having to deal with, the backlash when it comes to, oil and natural gas, or the way the stock market is fluctuating because of things that Trump is saying. We shouldn't be allowing like little sound bites to be affecting the stock market as much as they do, but it happens. So, and then with that gas tax being removed, the country's going to lose around $2.4 billion over the next 6 months because of that. And then you have to realize that there's still taxes on our fuel, and those taxes, you're still be paying GST or HST depending on where you are in the country. And then some cities have their own fuel tax. And then there's an added road tax included into the fuel. So you don't really see it at the pump. You see it as it goes from the tanker ship into, like, from the refinery to the tanker to your fueling stations. So yeah, that hidden fuel tax, or the road tax there, EVs don't pay for this. So what's the federal government going to do? Because it's a road tax. This is to go into our road, bridges, and that type of infrastructure. So EVs are getting away with this. They're driving on our roads, using our bridges, using our infrastructure, and yet they don't have to pay taxes on this. So the rest of us are having to pay for people using EVs on our roads. We're paying. The gas users are paying for the electrical vehicle users, which doesn't make any sense. The federal government needs to step up and start taxing any vehicle, a road tax that uses our our network of bridges, roads. Like, something needs to be done about that. And remember, that's just one tax they got rid of. Everyone's like, oh, they're removing that. And it's only 4 cents and then 10 cents on gasoline. 10 cents of gasoline. So gas here in Manitoba right now is about a buck 70 a liter of fuel. Okay, so now we're going to be paying a buck 60 a liter. That's still higher than what we were paying before the conflict in Iran. Really, really going to make a big difference. And then GM announced that their Chevy, GM, and Cadillac vehicles, as of 2028, will no longer be carrying Apple CarPlay or Android Auto unless you pay a monthly fee. So, like services that you can't even connect your phone to your vehicle anymore unless you pay a monthly fee. And this seems to be like how the world is going right now. They're just nickeling and diming us with everything. And it started with streaming services. You know, here you got to get this streaming service, like Prime, for example. Okay, you get Amazon Prime. And then they're like, oh, but if you want to watch this show, you have to get the upgraded version. You have to pay an extra more on top of that. But then if you want to watch this TV show, you got to get another program or another add-on to your Prime. So they're just slowly nickeling and diming us for every little thing that we do. And then to be fair, at the end of the day, these are our vehicles that we purchased. We should be able to connect our phones. We should be able to use like Navsat and GPS and stuff on our cars because we paid for it. And has anyone seen the price of vehicles lately? If you're paying that much for a new vehicle, you should fucking get the shit for free. You know, like it should be included in the cost. But this is insane. I just totally lost my faith in GM, and then GM just came out with some pretty crazy. What do you call it? Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Patents. They just released a few patents here that are pretty out there, pretty crazy. Guys, look up Chevy patents in the last 6 months and see what they're planning on doing with your vehicles in the next couple of years here. Pretty scary. And then down into the US, the price of tomatoes in the US has hit an 8-year high in March, with prices rising 15% in the month alone. This is largely due to the tariffs tomatoes from the tariffs on tomatoes coming from Mexico, and then a lot of the blame again, Iran and the cost of fuel. So really, this is, and at the end of the day, it's the consumers who are paying for this, you guys. Is it really necessary to have tariffs on produce coming from Mexico? Canada uses a lot of produce coming from Mexico. What was it? The other day I went and looked for celery, a stalk of celery the other day. It was almost $6.99 for a stalk of celery. What is going on here? What is going on here? So it's not even good to even eat healthy anymore. It's not worth it. Well, you can't afford to eat healthy. You can't even afford to eat steak. So whether you want to be a vegetarian or a meat eater, you're screwed either way. They're going to get us. Oh, and then yeah, back to Canada. Some companies like Maple Leaf Foods are charging a fuel surcharge on foods they that are heading to grocery stores, specifically because of the Iran war. Yeah, I already spoke. Sorry, I blended two topics in together. Uh, Loblaws says that they refuse to pay unjustifiable surcharges, but Loblaws has no problems ripping off customers on their price fixing, improperly labeled foods that are underweight, and it and then the smaller stores don't have the backing to fight these extra charges. So these mom and pops grocery stores, say Maple Leaf Foods is going to start charging them surcharges for delivery because of fuel costs. How are these small mom and pop grocery stores supposed to compete with that? You think they like, and then these small mom and pops are in low income areas. These people in these areas are already struggling. Like, you guys, butterfly effect here. Like, nobody thinks about the big picture of what's happening here. Like, and then nobody's looking at these big corporations that are ripping us off. But yet when it comes to the big corporations getting ripped off, they won't have anything to do with it. They'll say, give screw you, Maple Leaf, we're not paying that extra. But yet you have no problems ripping off the consumers at the end of the day. Oh, and then back over to Canada, Toyota is going to invest $300 million in its planned construction of its new Toronto head office. The 225,000 square foot facility will consolidate key operations and support future growth of the company in Canada. So Toyota's moving stuff over here. Actually, tell you the truth, I think Toyota had this planned way before this whole Trump thing started. So it's it kind of almost makes it seem like they're doing this because of the tariffs, but this was already planned. Like this doesn't just happen overnight. This is years in the making to do this, okay? Like you can't just write up blueprints overnight and then have them approved. This has been happening for years, like at least a year and a half in the works. So it's not because of the tariffs. But a lot of companies are saying, "Oh, it's because of tariffs." It was already in the works. Stop lying. It's almost like they're trying to make themselves sound better by, these simple little lies. And then still in Canada, skidoo maker BRP, based out of Valcourt, Quebec, is holding back its forecast for the next. Oh, sorry, holding back its forecast as it's facing $500 million in U.S. tariffs. The company lost more than a third of its share this morning in its shared market value. Its shared value went down 37% this morning on the Toronto Stock Exchange with the Section 232 tariffs on steel, aluminum, copper that comes into effect April 6th, putting a 25% levy on BRP, aka Ski-Doo snowmobiles sold into the US. So you guys like snowmobiling down in the States? You might have to stick with Arctic Cat then, because yeah, and Ski-Doo's been there like from day one. It's one of the first snowmobile companies ever created, and they're still running to this day. But to see a 37% loss because of these trade issues, that is a massive loss for a company like this. And this company's had its up and downs with weather and stuff. Like we've had good winters with snow, and we've had bad winters without any snow. So this company, it's very volatile as it sits because they can't predict the weather. And then, but what they can predict is these tariffs that the U.S. is putting on them. So yeah, that's just a shame to see a company like that take such a deep dive. And that was this morning, 37% losses in the stock market. That's crazy losses. Like it almost seems like everyone had a plan who had stocks in them, just completely pulled everything from them, pulled the carpet out from underneath their feet, 100%. And latest news that just came in before I went live: a third Chinese national has been charged for smuggling biopathogens, specifically E. coli DNA. Yoong Jiong was a PhD researcher at the Department of Biology in Indiana University and has admitted that he was a member of the Chinese Communist Party and has connections to a government type biolab that has been in contact with him the whole time he has been in the US. So that's 3 years. And the US Oh, and Ziong was under a student visa, and this is and he's been there for 3 years. He pled guilty and received only 4 months in a U.S. jail. Okay, these people are smuggling biological entities into the country, and he only gets a 4 month sentence. And then he has ties to the Chinese like Nationalist Party, and he only gets 4 months. No, did he only get the 4 months because he's a Chinese national? And the US was worried about more backlash if they did put him in prison any longer than that? Like that seems like a pretty light sentence for somebody who could have some major national security risks against the US. And then this being the third person being arrested and detained and prosecuted? out of China, bringing in biological entities into the country. And the funny part is, he had it mailed from a biolab known to the FBI and the Pentagon to be a Chinese nationalist biolab. They mailed him a package of women's panties that inside was hidden this uh what was it? I'm so ADD, I gotta write everything down. That E. coli DNA. Like, and then still waiting to see what's happening with Ori Solomon, but I'm pretty sure he's gone from the country. Ori Solomon, the guy from Vegas there who had the lab, and then he was charged for illegal possession of firearms and ammo manufacturing. And then he was released on recognizance, on his own recognizance. Yeah, yeah. This guy who had air, bees, and disease running, like, literally air, bees, and disease. Like, whatever happened to the people that stayed there? Like, I'd be I'd be suing the shit out of this Ori Solomon if I found out I was staying at one of his Airbnbs and then there was an illegal biolab in the garage while I was sleeping there. Mm. Yeah, considering those two people who had worked for him, who had been gravely ill after entering that garage, and then didn't bring it up to officials until they realized that's what made them sick, is going into that room. That's crazy. But that's pretty much it for the news today. News stripped down 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than that's probably just BS anyways. Here Monday to Friday, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time, and let's end everything off on things that happened today in history. April 15th, 1755, Samuel Johnson's A Dictionary of the English Language was printed or published in London, England. 1755, the first English language dictionary. April 15th, 1861, the Federal Army of 75,000 volunteers is mobilized by President Abraham Lincoln as the start of the American Civil War, 1861. April 15th, 1874, the first Impressionist art exhibit opens in Paris, featuring artists such as Monet, Degas, and Renoir. April 15th, 1877, world's first home telephone is installed in Somerville, Massachusetts. 1877, first telephone. You just pick it up. Hello, operator. Did they even have operators back then? Like, they're probably sitting there setting up telephones and be like, how are we going to connect these calls? We're going to need operators. And then April 15th, 1912, 2:20 a.m., the Titanic is fully sunk off the coast of Newfoundland as the band played on with losses between 14,000 and 16,000 losses. Hey, Rob. And April 15th, 1990, sketch comedy show In Living Color premiered on Fox TV. That would be In Living Color. That was Jim Carrey's major debut. Actually, a lot of really good comedians came out of there. But yeah, that show really didn't get a lot of attention. They were competing with Saturday Night Live, and that was 1990. I don't believe Mad TV started until the late 90s, probably 96, 97, which is kind of a spin-off of In Living Color. Once that got disbanded because of more people watching Saturday Night Live, they had started they had started Mad TV, which other great comedians have come out of too. April 15th, 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player to play MLB, Major League Baseball, for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Wow, I almost gagged there for some reason. And April 15th, 1989, the Hillsborough disaster, where 96 people were crushed to death during that football game, where 766 people injured at the Cup against Liverpool and Nottingham. That was pretty crazy. What it really came down to is the officials let too many people into the facility where the game was being played, and some people just ended up storming their way in, and then some people started storming the field because it was overcrowded, crushing 96 people and injuring those 766. That was pretty tragic. I remember that. Just imagine being trampled to death by people. That was pretty crazy. And then famous birthdays today, April 15th, 1452 to 1519. Leonardo da Vinci was 67 when he passed. April 15th, 1894 to 1971. Nikita Khrushchev is 77. He was the first secretary of the Communist Party of Russia. You guys probably, well, some of the older guys will probably know who I'm talking about. I remember him. And April 15th, 1912 to 1994, Kim Tu-zong. He was 82 when he passed. You probably remember him as the leader and founder of North Korea. Now we got Kim Jong-il, who is controlling the country with... Actually, to tell you the truth, I think his sister is running the country more than he is. That chick is crazy, and you don't really hear about her much. Meanwhile, Kim Jong Il's just sitting there eating his cake and loving it too, and his sister just skin and bone, just a wiry thing. And April 15th, 1922 to 1987, Harold Washington, he was 65. He was the first black mayor of Chicago. And not only that, he was like one of the first black mayors of all the United States in the first place. So, yeah, shout out to him. And what a place to be a black mayor, eh? Chicago. You can see how he got the vote. Like, those people really needed a voice to speak up for them, which I really give him major props to Harold Washington. So, shout out to him, man. Rest in peace. And then April 15th, 1933 to 1995, Elizabeth Montgomery was 62. You probably remember her from the TV show Bewitched, where she played, Samantha, the witch. And then April 15th, 1959, Emma Thompson, she's 67. She was in the movie, 1992 movie Howard Ends. I think I've seen that movie, but that would have been a long time ago. And April 15th, 1978, Chris Stapleton is 48, famous country singer. April 15th, 1982, Seth Rogen, Canadian Seth Rogen is 44 today. The stoner of Canada. Yeah, Seth Rogen. He's even up here making commercials for Canadian broadcasting right now. Oh yeah, the world's fucked up here. Yeah, just wait. Even with Carney removing some of the taxes here in Canada, it doesn't make a difference. It's only 4 cents on diesel and then 10 cents on gas. So if you're a truck driver, 1,000-liter tank, you're going to save $40. Is that a savings? And then we're still going to be paying $1.60 a liter because we're paying $1.70 right now. So we're, even after the tax is removed, we're still paying more for fuel than what we did before a conflict. And April 15th, 1990, Emma Watson, 36. You guys don't know who Emma Watson is? Yeah, she was part of the Harry Potter series. She was the girl who hung out with the other ones. I can't remember her name because I was really never into those movies. Not my shtick. And April 15th, 1997, Macy Williams is 29. You probably remember her for Arya Stark in the TV show Game of Thrones. Never watched that show either. I don't know. It seems by what I've heard of Game of Thrones, it's just people getting picked off. Even the actors didn't know if they were going to be in the next episode or not. So really didn't appeal to me at all. But I'm going to go live here. again in a few minutes to talk to you guys if you guys want to come back in and talk. But that's it for the news today. I'll be back for Thursday's show. I do have some things I want to talk about after this, though. I don't want to bring them up here on the show because it's just strictly news. But I'm here Monday to Friday, 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Hit the like button, subscribe, and yeah, 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than that's probably just BS, anyways. But I'll see you guys for tomorrow's show, Thursday. Unless you guys want to pop in here, I will be back shortly in about 5 minutes for another live to just sit here and talk with you guys and see what you think. But if you guys don't, if I don't see you in a bit here, I'll see you guys Thursday. Or if not, you guys have a great week and enjoy your weekend. We got some snow coming in Manitoba here probably tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Another 10 centimeters, and hopefully that's the end of that. And then maybe I could start doing these news broadcasts outside, which would be nice. Get some fresh air with you guys. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. I am out of here. Waka 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 waka.